Hello there. Today I spent the day on like video conference basically. I spent like 4 hours talking to my sister and we were doing our Christmas shopping. We always coordinate Christmas shopping because we only buy for the people we have in common, or at least I only buy for the people we have in common. I feel like she probably buys for other people because she's that kind of person. She likes to give to other people. And so I'm pretty used to seeing my sister on video conference or by phone because she lives in Victoria. And so even when I lived in Calgary, we didn't see each other all that often. But I then spent a couple hours chatting with a friend of mine from Calgary, a person that I used to spend time with, a pretty good amount of time with, in person. But we really didn't have a digital relationship. Really, I mean, we text each other for sure and we'd call each other, but it was definitely in person. Like we'd play volleyball together, we'd hang out, we'd like go to the pub for trivia, that kind of thing. And I realized today that there are so many, I mean, I guess I didn't realize, but there are so many things that you just can't get out of video conference. Like besides being in that same room with someone and like their nervous system, like have like being in a room with other nervous systems, like that's obviously a big one. But they're like passive communication is hard to do over video conference. So like I used to like the group of friends that I had in Calgary, we'd hang out and we'd just joke, like we'd make jokes. And it's really hard to get a good joking rhythm on video conference because you end up talking over each other and you can't really hear each other. And there's a delay, so it's not as fast. And I don't know, you're like forced to sit there and look at somebody, whereas when you're sitting with them, maybe you're not looking right at them and there's other things in the environment, like you have a shared environment. And so it's a lot easier to have like a really quick back and forth, like comedic exchange, which is, it's just, I miss that about in-person gatherings. Um, and I didn't really realize how hard that was, I guess, over video conference until today. And I think it's interesting to see how the relationships in my life have changed because of the pandemic, but also because of the big move that we did 2 years ago. Like all those people that I hung out with in Calgary, we hung out because we played volleyball together and we would, have brunch on Sundays. And, that was really the only time that we chatted with each other. And so it's been really hard to keep up with those people because it meant that our relationship changed. And like, it's been interesting to see how the pandemic has impacted that as well, for sure. Because the people that I used to hang out with here, I have had to try and communicate with virtually. And that's been a change too. I really miss, I haven't been able to play volleyball since the summer. And I thought I was going to miss it so much because I used to play 4 days a week. Like it was basically a part-time job. It was like 12 hours a week I would be playing volleyball. But I don't. I don't miss volleyball. Not indoor anyway. If I don't get to play beach, we'll talk again. But indoor, I don't really miss. But what I miss is seeing those people because we really haven't kept up with each other. And I really miss going to the pub after the game because that's when we got to hang out and like make jokes and find out what was going on in each other's lives. And you just don't have that casual atmosphere over like video conference or text or phone or any of those digital means of communication. It's just not the same. It's like a forced conversation. Not forced, but like it's more direct than it would be if you were just in person. I find a lot of things come up too when you're in person that would never ever come up over the phone. I find, like, especially if somebody comes to visit you from another city, like when my sister would come over from Victoria and you'd spend, that's probably more a product of spending a good amount of time with somebody, like spending like 4 or 5 days in a row where you just end up talking about stuff that you would never talk about on the phone. I guess because you get all that initial like, hey, how's the weather, out of the way, like that small talk stuff, the easy stuff, the here's what I've been doing recently stuff, all of that gets taken care of, and then you have the time and space to get into more, I don't know, I don't want to say more interesting, because it's like I'm interested in all of the, like, here's how I'm doing stuff too, but just the stuff that you don't really talk about on a regular basis. So I miss that stuff too. Yeah. What do you miss about in-person gatherings? Do you miss the atmosphere of going to the pub, or do you miss like the passive communication of just being in a room with somebody, or something else, or something completely different? Let me know. I'd love to know what you're missing. And if you figured out a way around it, if there's a way that you've figured out to, like, I don't know, simulate one of those things that you're missing. I hope you're doing well, and I'll see you tomorrow.